Hi, I'm Tori with the Center for Clairvoyant and Intuitive Development. Many people ask me what the difference is between remote viewing and clairvoyant reading. Well, really, they're very similar. They're just two sides of the same coin. When I describe remote viewing and clairvoyant reading as being similar, we first think about the ways that we see and perceive this matrix we're in, this place that we're all sharing of time and space and perception. Our eyes give us the brightest and the most feedback in our world to see and perceive our world. We do something to our hair or our clothes, we can look in a mirror and get immediate feedback. We can move the furniture around the living room and we see it, we get immediate feedback. You can be in front of somebody and tell them something surprising, and they can show you immediate feedback. We're seeing. Now, the other way that we see or perceive our world is through remembered images, remembered seeing. And that's a little dimmer. It's not as bright, but it still gives us some feedback. It's memory, it's remembered images. So to do remembered seeing is to just, you can close your eye, you can look at something in the room, and then you can close your eyes and keep seeing it with your eyes closed. And you'll do it 3 times just to really see it with your eyes closed. Look at the same object, close your eyes, keep seeing it. Look at the same object, close your eyes, keep seeing it. And what you'll notice is that you're not seeing from the closed eyelids here, you're seeing from your forehead. This is your place of seeing. Remote viewing and clairvoyant reading use this place in the forehead, this ability to see through visions, images, shapes, colors. This is how we start to see here, which is in our remembered images of perception. You can even think about a movie that you just saw that you really liked and remember the scene in the movie, replay the scene, the characters, the feelings even, and that can all take place here in this remembered area. The third way that we see that is similar in clairvoyant reading and remote viewing is called subspace imaging. And subspace imaging is something that we don't get from memory and we don't get from our eyes around us. So this is where remote viewing and clairvoyant reading are very similar, is that we're wanting to see and perceive something that is unknown to us, and usually from a distance. Even if it's another person that's across the room, they're still remote, they're away from us. We are only the ones inside of us. So this third way of perceiving subspace images is something that can be developed. It is the dimmest, it has the least feedback. We don't get immediate feedback. Um, and it can be developed, and it needs to be developed, because the simplest things to use this skill is, and if you've lost something, you can tune into the object, you can tune into what's around the object. And this is how clairvoyant reading and remote viewing relate. The clairvoyant reading is going to be tuning in with the purpose of giving healing communication, seeing something in the person's past, seeing something in the relationship that they're in, giving insights into the other person, or the events or the future, seeing where they're headed in the same in the habits that they're in and the thought processes they're in, where they're headed. Now, remote viewing is different than clairvoyant reading in that, and this is why I like to teach remote viewing to my clairvoyant students, because remote viewing can help with hard data and soft data. Remote viewing is a scientific process where they consider what you're looking at isn't for healing communication, it's a target, something that you want to see as a target. And you describe the two types of data: hard data, just the shapes and the colors and the textures of what you're tuning into. And then the soft data is the interpretation that comes later. So you may tune in to something that You can see has a furry texture. Maybe it's yellow and brown, and it's long and round, and it starts to take a shape of an animal. Now, you may jump right away and say it's a dog, but then maybe it's a tiger. So really, when we see things as shapes and textures, this subspace perception. And we want to always stay with the hard data, the shapes and textures first, and then do the interpretation, the soft data, afterward. And that's why when we give someone a reading, we may see something for them that looks to us like a dog, but it's a tiger. Just as an example, we jump right to what we're seeing that we're interpreting versus giving the readee the idea of what you're seeing, give them the description of what you're seeing. I see something that's round and heavy, and it makes me think of a bell, and they'll say, "Oh no, I'm a cook. That's one of my pots." Right? So you want to give them the dimensions of what you see. And so we borrow a lot of these ideas from remote viewing. And that's why I like to teach special workshops just on remote viewing. So you learn the protocols and the real specific ways, and they're called experiments and targets. And it's a lot of fun to see that you see things in this subspace perception all the time, and it has to be developed. It's not natural. It could be if we were learning as children, but because we haven't had this training, usually as adults or even teenagers, it's good to get the training so you can get your confidence about that third way of seeing, that subspace way of seeing, which enhances your ability to be clairvoyant and intuitive and tune in, but also in remote viewing. So excuse me, join me in a workshop that may be coming up soon. Thank you. And you can also write me with any questions that you have.